7 a.m. and it's now time for the Morning Watch with Mr. Stokeley Marshall. But let me just remind you, or tell you rather, that the Morning Watch is sponsored today by Holtz Hardware and Supplies, the leader in electrical building and everything for the home, and also the Ministry of Economic and Job Creation, achieving prosperity through partnership, economic growth, and sustainable development. It's now time for the Morning Watch.
Jamaica, let us arrive alive. We know everyone has somewhere to be or someone to see. Whether you're going on a trip, headed to a party, running errands, getting gifts, or visiting family and friends. Arrive alive. Slow down. There's no rush. Look out for yourself and others. Don't let your life be a statistic. Too many Jamaicans are dying on our roads. So take time on the road. Arrive alive.
A message from the Office of the Prime Minister.
Holtz Hardware and Supplies for electrical, plumbing, and building items at low prices. Everything you need for the home. Rugs, decorative curtain rods, sheet set, picture frames, indoor and outdoor lights, and more. That's Holtz Hardware, St. John's Road between Ebony and Royal Place, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Telephone 876-648-7166 or 876-648-7017. Holtz Hardware, the leader in electrical and building supplies.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live in the main watches. Today, in the first watch, what if there were to be a nuclear holocaust? And in the second watch, regulating artificial intelligence. For our social media question, we ask, what if there were to be a nuclear holocaust? Share your response in our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes too. 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on the program. At first, as I quote.
Good morning, good morning. Today's I quote says, "Let everyone sweep in front of his own door, and the whole world will be clean." Again, it says, "Let everyone sweep in front of his own door, and the whole world will be clean."
So you call this one means mind your own business?
Basically, yeah. Focus on the things that pay you.
That's what it sounds like it means.
Literally.
How are you, my friend, this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm having a slight lump in my throat, but we progressed nonetheless.
Right.
I got wet in the rain last week.
Ah, I see. That rain. Yeah.
Yes, that rain. Indeed, that rain. The main watch. We'll be back after this break.
Follow Grey Sardine, better flavor. Grey Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the pan with pepper, that's the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. You all of them nice. Pass the park, make push it.
Grey Sardines follow the better flavor.
You work hard to make Jamaica a first-class destination. Isn't it time you receive the 5-star benefits? Retire smarter with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme, a portable plan that also provides your family with financial security in case of your untimely death. It's easy, affordable, and accessible online. Retire and relax with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme. Visit twps.myguardiangroup.com or call 876-927-4105. Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
Jamaica, let us arrive alive. We know everyone has somewhere to be or someone to see. Whether you're going on a trip, headed to a party, running errands, getting gifts, or visiting family and friends. Arrive alive. Slow down. There's no rush. Look out for yourself and others. Don't let your life be a statistic. Too many Jamaicans are dying on our roads. So take time on the road. Arrive alive.
A message from the Office of the Prime Minister.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Here's why you can't afford to miss the Morning Watch.
I love listening to the Morning Watch because topics are discussed and issues are highlighted that are of major importance, which in turn edify me.
The Morning Watch, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
I like listening to the Morning Watch. I find it very informative. I find it very interesting. The topics that are covered are very, very wide.
The Morning Watch, thought-provoking, insightful, current. Listen for the probing questions with Attorney at Law Stokeley Marshall and the in-depth discussion with Reverend Dr. Darlin Toussaint. Every Wednesday, the Morning Watch is brought to you by Chris and Charles. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles. Every first and third Wednesday, the Morning Watch is brought to you by Home and Things. Home and Things, your construction finishes superstore. The Morning Watch, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The Morning Watch is on the family station, Love 101.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive 1 to 5, June 6th, packed with inspirational stories and island flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the Ranger Stigmatized Listener Speak Edition. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we bring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence. We share with you another testimony boasting about the power of God. Then at 3 p.m. we go behind the pulpit with pastor and counselor of the Word of His Grace Christian Fellowship Healing Center, Pastor Ainsworth Stewart. All this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. June 6th with yours truly, Sarah Amber Trophy 1 on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
What kind of music do you prefer to worship God? Does He reject any form? Isn't music just music? Tuesday, June 6th on The Rock. Join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Andrew Green and Errol B as they discuss the topic reggae, revival, ska, rock, dancehall, and dub in worship. That's The Rock, Tuesday, June 6th at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
Come with us as we explore 30 days through the Word with love in the month of June. We will be sharing excerpts from 30 Days in the Word by Reverend Dr. Shauna Knowles. What a journey it will be. Be sure to listen in each day and follow the devotional. At the end of the 30 days, you may just win a pass for the Chosen by God conference scheduled for Saturday, August 12 at the Jamaica Bible Church in West Green, Montego Bay, hosted by author Reverend Dr. Sharon Knowles and facilitated by Elder Sharon Nelson. 30 Days in the Word, Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 11:05 a.m., Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Sundays at 9:15 a.m. Right here on Love 101, the family station, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Coming up on Campus Connection, Children and Technology Part 2. We'll be continuing the discussion with Dr. Sheldon Campbell, AI enthusiast, as we ask the questions: is technology helping or harming our children? What are some of the things that can be done to protect ourselves from acts of cyberbullying, scamming, and other forms of criminal activities? Join us Tuesday, June 6th at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101 as we hear from our students, parents, and special guests. Is AI technology really safe for the church? And what can we do to ensure safety while interacting in cyberspace? If anyone knows what Guamp on campus, it's our students, so you don't want to miss this episode. That's Campus Connection with Jonathan Fletcher and Ernesto Samuels, Tuesday, June 6th at 5:30 p.m. on the family station Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Due to the issues with the Russia-Ukraine war, which is said that the threat of, well, there is a new Cold War, essentially, and it seems that nuclear weapons are on the table. Now, what does this mean for the rest of the world, including Jamaica? What does this mean for the rest of the world, including Jamaica? And our guest so far is Mr. Richard Dennison. He's a retired systems analyst for Apple Computer and New York Times, founder of the Jamaica Amateur Science Association. Mr. Dennison, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Brother Stokeley. It's been a minute. How are you doing?
Good having you again on the Morning Watch. You're no stranger to the Morning Watch now, I will say, sir. Now, what are nuclear weapons, first of all, and do they exist? Do they still exist?
Unfortunately, yes. Nuclear weapons basically harness the knowledge gained from Einstein's equation E=mc², which means that a small amount of matter can be acted upon using a combination of engineering and chemistry to create a bomb of immense power that can obliterate life and have the long-lasting effects afterward of radiation.
The long-lasting effects of radiation, that word radiation. What is radiation?
Well, radiation is the release of particles unseen to the eye that can damage human DNA and cause destruction of tissues that eventually leads to the end of life, or corruption of children, unborn children and such. So very dangerous and can have long-lasting effects.
Damage to the DNA?
That's right, because think of it as microscopic bullets flying through your body. And if you damage DNA, it can create cancer. It can, immediately damage tissue depending on the intensity of the irradiation. But it's very dangerous and is one of the, drawbacks of nuclear weapons, if you can say such a thing. That, because of course all bombs are terrible. But that's what makes nuclear weapons particularly, dangerous. And also their explosive power, because what can happen if you detonate enough nuclear weapons is you create a situation called nuclear winter, where it throws up so much dust and debris into the atmosphere that it blocks sunlight up to allowing only maybe 30 to 40% of sunlight to reach the Earth's surface, thereby lowering temperatures globally and plunging the world into a winter, basically, of sub-zero temperatures that would wipe out all plant life and thus all human and animal life.
Yes, but you speak about it so, as if it's just another day in the year. As you speak, I feel mortified already, Mr. Dennison.
As you should.
No, look, well, help us here, Mr. Dennison. What happens, therefore, if there's a nuclear war? I mean, Russia and Ukraine are arguably many, many thousands of miles away. Right. Should we be concerned on this side of the world?
Very much so, and I'll explain why. We've been here before, and this was in Cuba. There were 13 days in October of 1962, what's called the Cuban Missile Crisis, where the Russians were attempting to bring nuclear missiles to Cuba as a way of having an early strike against the United States. The US caught wind of this. They sent out spy planes that overflew Cuba and saw these sites and enabled a blockade around Cuba to try and prevent the Soviet ships from bringing these weapons there. And the Soviets and the United States were at a standoff, and Kennedy was forced into, the world by writ large was forced into 13 days of terror as, the blockade lasted, with the Russians and the Americans not backing down. Now, luckily, in the end, the Russians did back down, but there were generals that were pressuring Kennedy to invade Cuba, not realizing that tactical nuclear weapons had already arrived on the island and could have started a nuclear war, which would have ended life. So we've been close, very, very, very close to world destruction.
And we are now upon a break.
Just off the shores of Jamaica, by the way. So
I know that. We are now upon a break. Listeners, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Morning Watch.
Play your part in helping us become rock solid and ready. For more information on the National Natural Disaster Risk Financing Policy, visit mof.gov.jm. The time by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service is
just about 7:16 a.m.
Holt's Hardware and Supplies for electrical, plumbing, and building items at low prices. Everything you need for the home. Rugs, decorative curtain rods, sheet set, picture frames, indoor and outdoor lights, and more. That's Holt's Hardware, St. John's Road, between Ebony and Royal Place, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Telephone 876-648-7166 or 876-648-7017. Holt's Hardware, the leader in electrical and building supplies.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You care more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Has it ever happened to you that you're scrolling on social media, spending the afternoon, and suddenly you accidentally give your crush a like? Don't get heated. Cool off with a Sprite. Share and leave them a direct message. Who knows? They might even answer you. Sprite.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the main watch and we're having a very interesting conversation with Richard Dennison. The topic is, what if there were to be a nuclear holocaust? Mr. Dennison is a retired systems analyst for Apple Computer and the New York Times, he's founder of Jamaica Amateur Science Association. Mr. Dennison, you are outlining a number of very serious things to us. What is a nuclear war, holocaust, and radiation. You spoke about radiation, the effects of radiation. Now, sir, we know that there is a possibility of a nuclear war because there are tensions, very strong, serious tensions between Russia and Ukraine.
Yes, I might just add that they're not the only hot flashpoint. There's also India and Pakistan as well that are, basically at sort of a detente right now, but, could erupt into war at any time, as well as North Korea, and Kim Jong-un.
Yes, exactly.
Who is, prone to saber rattling. So, yes.
So we have a number of possible flashpoints. Now, if there were to be a nuclear holocaust, and this sort of nuclear winter were to be imminent, as you describe it, what, if anything, can people do to protect themselves on a personal, family, individual level?
All right. Well, I'll say this. It could scale. Nuclear winter is at an extreme, and that would, anticipate a significant exchange of nuclear weapons. However, there could be a rogue element who gains control of a nuke and detonates that, in some part of the world. Now, Jamaica, because we're not a major player, if it were a rogue nuke event, we would be okay. However, being so close to the United States and the United States being a target for a lot of these, authoritarian countries with nuclear weapons like North Korea and Russia, does pose a serious threat to us, just from proximity alone. Now, it depends on the level of the exchange, the prevailing winds, how far the radiation carries. And there really isn't much that can be done. We can seek shelter, and which is, finding some reinforced bunker where we're not exposed to the air, which would be carrying the irradiated dust and potential radiation if it spreads that far. So there are a few things, and also to take potassium iodide pills as a way of protecting the thyroid, which would basically fill it up with
potassium. Repeat that. Potassium.
Yes, potassium iodide. So what it is a pill that allows, it will essentially replace the iodine in your thyroid, basically filling it with quote unquote safe iodine and blocking it from the uptake of radioactive iodine. But that's just one area of the body. The rest of the body, of course, is exposed, and there's no clear way to protect the rest of the body other than to try to seek shelter away from, currents of air outside, basically sealing your house up so that you would be protected. But again, bear in mind that, there are knock-on effects from nuclear weapons, away from just the radiation, which would be, effects on global commerce. Think about it, we don't grow everything we eat. We do import, and if, the world were sufficiently incapacitated, these, lines of communication and transport, yes, we would be in, devastating situations. So, radiation is just one facet of the danger.
You say devastating so calmly, but thank you, Mr. Dennison. Let's bring in Rudy Robinson, who I think is now on the line, our other guest. Mr. Rudy Robinson is a lecturer, and he is a senior industrial engineer, and he's a lecturer in technology at the Montego Bay Community College. Good morning, Rudy Robinson. So sorry that you're just now joining us, but we wondered what had happened to you. I hope you're okay, sir. Any comments you'd like to make?
Hi, good morning. Sorry to your listeners for coming in so late, but I'm okay.
Any comments you'd like to make, Mr. Robinson? What if there were to be a nuclear holocaust? Any comments? I mean, how do people protect themselves on a personal, individual level if they can?
Well, you've covered most of the bases already, and there isn't much you can do to protect yourself in the event of a full nuclear holocaust. It would mean global-wide destruction, and life as we know it, the little things that we do know, would no longer exist, would no longer happen. Because down to your climate and your weather patterns are going to be completely altered. And
tell us what that means, practically speaking, Mr. Robinson. That means you can't go to the supermarket, you can't drive to work, you can't go to the barber. Tell us exactly what you mean by life as you know it would not be the same.
Okay, international commerce, which is what keeps the world going, which is what keeps us so-called modern civilization, will cease. In a nuclear holocaust, there will be no trade between countries because some of those countries may not exist. And because there will be no trade between countries, many of the goods and services that we take for granted would suddenly cease to be produced, will cease to exist, or will depend on something which will depend on an item which no longer is being manufactured or produced somewhere else. So
yes.
Right, supermarket.
I gather that a lot of our vitamins are imported, I gather, so those would not be coming in anymore, for example. A lot of our medications will not be coming in. Yes.
Right.
I see.
All of those things we can't rely on. They won't happen anymore.
Yes, understood. And so how should people prepare for such an event? I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I mean, how should persons prepare for such a possible eventuality? Mr. Dennison.
Well, it is believed the only way to survive a nuclear holocaust is to go underground and deep underground. So if you have, say, a natural cave system in your backyard or in your area, which goes deep underground, which is going into large caverns, you can look to developing crops that will grow in that cave system. The whole water table, where it's coming from and would it be contaminated, and actually living inside a cave. Because it's only deep down under the ground you'll be protected from the majority of the radiation. And even then you're still you run the risk of being contaminated. So world populations will be cut right down to a minuscule of what they are now. And who will be left will be isolated and not in touch with anybody anymore. It'll be all over. We'll go straight back to the caveman days.
And remember, as I explained earlier, Stokeley, it depends on the level of the
Mr. Dennison, Mr. Dennison,
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead. Yes, go ahead,
Yes.
Mr. Dennison.
As I was explaining, the level of the exchange also will impact, how much of the planet is affected. Because, like I said, let's say it's a limited exchange between India and Pakistan. Depending on how many weapons are fired, we may either escape, our consequences totally, or face the situation of nuclear winter, which is going to lower temperatures around the planet for up to 10 years. And most of humanity be wiped out in the first two, because again, if plants can't grow, etc. And if temperatures drop and remain sustainably low, then that's it. We're in trouble. I'll say this: if people are curious about this, there's a thing called the Doomsday Clock that was created in 1947. That is a way of sort of visualizing and publicizing the existential threats to mankind. Nuclear war being one of them. Of course, we have global warming, etc. And diseases like COVID. And when it started, the time was set at 7 minutes to midnight. Imagine, most of the clock was already up, midnight being, the wiping out of humanity. And it went as high as 17 minutes to midnight. And about 2012, it was 5 minutes to midnight. And because of what's going on in Ukraine and with global warming, they've now moved it to 90 seconds, right now to midnight. That's how, if you can visualize that, how close we are to danger. And this is one of the theories actually behind why we may never see aliens, because it seems that when intelligent species unleash powers that can end their worlds, they often press the button. And, this hopefully doesn't happen to us. We can only pray, sir, and prayer is a big part of this, What is actually extended the peace for us is what's called MAD, mutually assured destruction. The fact that I can completely obliterate you if you completely obliterate me has kept a lot of these wars at bay for the past, 40, 50 years, right? But of course, when you get rogue actors like North Korea and one madman with enough control over his nuclear arsenal to be a sole, contender in pushing a button, then the whole world is in danger. And hence, the 90 seconds to midnight.
You have raised an issue about aliens, which is a completely different topic, but more anon. Why would one use nuclear weapons, especially since Russia and Ukraine are so close? I mean, why would either country even consider using nuclear weapons? They're just next door to each other. Mr. Robinson, any thoughts on that?
Okay, I didn't realize you were talking about limited nuclear war as well. I didn't realize I'd reached that point. But yes, if you take a look at Russia and Ukraine, for example, every now and then Russia will threaten to, we'll drop a nuclear weapon on you, we'll drop a nuclear weapon on you. But the type of nuclear weapon that Russia is going to drop on you is going to be one of these short lifespan radiation nuclear weapons, whereas the radiation effect would completely be eliminated or reduced after only a few days.
Yes.
So if it was that type of a war, then it will be uncomfortable. But the temptation to go to full-scale nuclear weapons would be too great if you lose.
And before we close this segment, Mr. Robinson, since you made that distinction, which is a very important distinction, help the listeners to understand the distinction between a limited nuclear war and a full-scale nuclear war before we wrap today.
Okay, there are two types of nuclear weapons. There are some small ones. I don't remember the physics behind them, which will give you, when dropped, will give you a nuclear reactor. And so you'll get the mushroom cloud, you'll get the high temperatures, the blinding light, flash. But the radiation that they use, because they're not using the heavy plutonium or uranium, the radiation that they produce doesn't have such a long lifespan.
Okay.
It's going to linger thousands of years.
And the full scale now. Full
scale ones, no. That's the uranium. I remember the number. The full scale is the uranium one.
Yes.
Which once they drop those for tens of thousands of years, that area cannot be occupied or inhabited.
Have to leave it there this morning. I want to thank Mr. Rudy Robinson and Mr. Dennison for being with us this morning. In other words, in a nutshell, We pray to God that there will be no nuclear war, whether full scale or limited. I want to thank both of you gentlemen for being with us this morning on the Morning Watch. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
JN Bank Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality. The time by JN Bank Small Business Loans is
7:30.
Follow Grace Sardine, better flavor. Grace Sardine with the chef and the beginner. Follow the pan with pepper, that's the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody sell it. Do all of them nice. Pass the part, let push it.
Grace Sardines, follow the better flavor.
What kind of music do you prefer to worship God? Does he reject any form? Isn't music just music? Tuesday, June 6th on The Rock. Join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Andrew Green and Errol Bean as they discuss the topic reggae, revival, ska, rock, dancehall, and dub in worship. That's The Rock, Tuesday, June 6th at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
Calling all candidates registered for City and Guilds exams in June, reminding you that math is on the 6th and English on the 7th of June. Both exams will be at 9 a.m. sharp. You will sit your exams at your schools. Don't miss this opportunity provided by the Ministry of Education and Youth. This certification could be your passport to the future.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Holtz Hardware and Supplies for electrical, plumbing, and building items at low prices. Everything you need for the home. Rugs, decorative curtain rods, sheet set, picture frames, indoor and outdoor lights, and more. That's Holtz Hardware, St. John's Road between Ebony and Royal Place, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Telephone 876-648-7166 or 876-648-7017. Holtz Hardware, the leader in electrical and building supplies.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have in the Gleaner, first of all, we have a headline here: 2 firearms and ammunition seized by the St. Andrews South Police. And we move over to the Observer. Interestingly, dealing with the topic we dealt with in the first watch: Ukraine to confront Russia at top United Nations court. Ukraine to confront Russia at top United Nations court. And we have here in Luke Jamaica News, Labour Ministry confirms death of Jamaican farm worker in Canada. Our condolences to his family. We are very sorry to hear of the death of the Jamaican farm worker in Canada. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. Of course, coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is, what if there were to be a nuclear holocaust? If you haven't done so yet, leave your responses in our Facebook or YouTube. Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp your comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive 1 to 5 June 6th, packed with inspirational stories and island flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the Ranger segmenticized Listener Speak Edition. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we bring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 is at the evidence. We share with you another testimony boasting about the power of God. Then at 3 p.m. we go behind the pulpit with pastor and counselor of the Word of His Grace Christian Fellowship Healing Center, Pastor Ainsworth Stewart. All this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. June 6th with yours truly, Sarah Amber Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
as we explore 30 days through the Word with love in the month of June. We will be sharing excerpts from 30 Days in the Word by Reverend Dr. Sharna Knowles. What a journey it will be. Be sure to listen in each day and follow the devotional. At the end of the 30 days, you may just win a pass for the Chosen by God conference scheduled for Saturday, August 12 at the Jamaica Bible Church in West Green, Montego Bay, hosted by author Reverend Dr. Sharna Knowles and facilitated by Elder Sharon Nelson. 30 Days in the Word, Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 11:05 a.m., Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Sundays at 9:15 a.m. Right here on Love 101, the family station, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Well, let us join Jakala to see what our friends on Facebook and WhatsApp have to say in relation to our question today. What if there were to be a nuclear holocaust, Jakala?
All right, so we do have some responses here. I have one from Monica. Monica says, good morning. The nuclear fallout from Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombs would pale in comparison. No human life would survive. Probably the only creature to possibly scrape through such a catastrophe would be the cockroach, which I am not. God help us so that doesn't occur. And then we have another voice message. We have a voice message from Edna.
Good morning, Morning Watch. Good morning, Love 101 listeners and staff. What would I do if there should be a nuclear holocaust? Oh my God. One thing for sure, I know I would try to be as safe as possible for myself and those around me. But what much could I do? I could only do so much and no more. So one thing I would have to say, I would have to be safe in the arms of Jesus. That's the only way I see it, right? Yeah, man, safe in the arms of Jesus.
In the arms of sweet deliverance, indeed. And that's the end of the responses that we have here.
In the arms of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is Edna.
That's right, Edna in Montego Bay.
Yes. Thank you very much, our listeners, for your comments and for your contributions in terms of your contributions in terms of your comments in that segment, because, well, I think what it will do, Jakal, in some respects, it might bring communities together.
Yes, that's true.
Sometimes you have neighbors, and neighbors are a little bit comfortable.
Yes,
taking care of their own affairs because they have all the conveniences close by.
Mm-hmm.
They can go to the supermarket and to the gas station
and to the corner shop. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they can take care of themselves. But if that system is fragmented or destroyed because of a nuclear holocaust,
they have to rely.
People will have to start relying on each other.
That's true.
So that is something that I think would result from a nuclear holocaust. We move right into the second watch. Artificial intelligence, again, it is said that artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI, is in practically everything that we use, see, and need. And it's causing a lot of concern to the point where warnings are being triggered about risks it is posing to humanity, or that they are posing to humanity, and amid growing calls for regulating AI. Can you really regulate AI? Or should we do away with it? There is even talk of this thing called voluntary AI. What is that? What is voluntary AI? Our guests today are, in this segment, Tyrone Edwards, Enhanced Information Technology Professional Analyst Programmer, UN Conference of Trade and Development, UNCTAD. And we have Michael Diamond, President, Consumers Intervention, Jamaica. Mr. Diamond and Mr. Edwards, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you and your listeners. Are you hearing me okay?
Hearing you loud and clear, Mr. Diamond. I hope you're well, sir.
Good morning. Good
Mr.
morning,
Edwards.
Mr.
Mr. Edwards, are you well, sir? I hope you're well.
Yes, I'm well.
Now, please remind us, what is artificial intelligence, AI? Just give us a little reminder, Mr. Edwards.
Well, artificial intelligence, as we have discussed previously, is computing software which is able to mimic the intelligence of humans. And the intelligence that it is able to demonstrate is programmed by humans.
So why are we programming things to mimic us?
It's all about convenience. We have been
Only
going
convenience or to replace us? Talk to me straight, Mr.
It's really about convenience. We have gone through several
Only,
revolutions.
only that, only convenience or to replace as well.
Convenience is the main goal. Let's think about the different industrial revolutions that we have gone through. And AI is a technology that is advancing industrial revolutions.
Well,
With each revolution,
arguably, we should not have abandoned the farms because many people are talking about we should go back into farming. So we abandoned the agrarian lifestyle, and now we're caught in a situation where AI might replace us, and no one doesn't even know how to till the soil.
So the machines were used to replace human labor, which increased the output of the farms. And then the human labor had to move into other areas.
Of whose farms, of which farms, the big farms. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Edwards. Thank you for that definition. Now, going further, sir, we have defined AI for us. Now, what are some of the issues or the risks to humanity in relation to artificial intelligence?
The risk with technologies that influence these types of revolutions is that of job safety. And for the purpose of technology, it's to make our own lives convenient. And that convenience actually comes at a cost. But
such as being unemployed.
Exactly, because tasks that can be done more efficiently through the use of the technology will now be taken up by that technology, which then allows us to seek another level of advancement. As with each technology, we need to have persons trained to operate the technology and to further develop same technology. So therefore, in as much as there are going to be jobs that will be displaced by the technology, there are going to be much more jobs that become available because of it. With artificial intelligence, the challenge that we face is that we are now allowing a computer to simulate the intelligence of the human being. And the advantage that a computer has over the human is the speed at which it can process the data that it has.
Hold that thought, Mr. Edwards. I want to bring in Mr. Diamond before the break. Mr. Diamond, how are you doing again? Now, you've heard what Mr. Edwards has said. Any thoughts or any comments from the perspective of the consumer?
Well, absolutely. Mr. Edwards was very kind to make it sound so attractive in some ways. And it is. There's a certain level of benefit that will certainly, the consumers will certainly be able to enjoy. Yet the conversation surrounding AI at this point is not really at that basic level. It is at the level that it can threaten humanity. So we are speaking about an extinction level technology that is now developing. So the concerns that individuals are having
hold that thought one second, Mr. Diamond. Hold that thought, because we are now upon a break. Listeners, do not go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Sardine for the chef and the beginner. Follow the one with pepper, that's a the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody
Play sardines, follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:45.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive 1 to 5, June 6th. packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the Ranger segment to size, Listener Speak Edition. Stick around for prayer blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 is at the evidence. We share with you another testimony boasting about the power of God. Then at 3 p.m. we go behind the pulpit with pastor and counselor of the Word of His Grace Christian Fellowship Healing Center, Pastor Ainsworth Stewart. All the time will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. June 6th with yours truly, Sarah Amber Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Holtz Hardware and Supplies for electrical, plumbing, and building items at low prices. Everything you need for the home. Rugs, decorative curtain rods, sheet set, picture frames, indoor and outdoor lights, and more. That's Holtz Hardware, St. John's Road between Ebony and Royal Place, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Telephone 876-648-7166 or 876-648-7017. Holtz Hardware, the leader in electrical and building supplies.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Stay fully connected with Flow Yard and Road, the home internet and mobile plan to keep up with your life. Sign up today and get fiber fast internet at home and unlimited YouTube, social, talk and text on your mobile for just $4,999 plus GCT. And get a Samsung tablet or phone now for only $499 plus GCT. Flow Yard and Road. Stay fully connected. Visit the Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Jamaica, let us arrive alive. We know everyone has somewhere to be or someone to see. Whether you're going on a trip, headed to a party, running errands, getting gifts, or visiting family and friends. Arrive alive. Slow down. There's no rush. Look out for yourself and others. Don't let your life be a statistic. Too many Jamaicans are dying on our roads. So take time on the road. Arrive alive.
A message from the Office of the Prime Minister.
Crystal Clear and Sharp Vision Ultra Clear is a total natural herb formulated to activate the adult replacement stem cells in your body, sending them to the eyes to repair the damaged cells. Take 1 teaspoon daily in hot water and watch the improvement in your vision. To get yours, call Hafco Herbs 876-540-8871. That's 540-8871 or WhatsApp 533-0462.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch. Our guests in this segment are Tyrone Edwards and Michael Diamond. The topic is regulating artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI. And Mr. Diamond, just before the break, you were outlining to us, sir, this matter of AI and extinction level, meaning making humans extinct. Well, I don't think you mean that literally, but in other words, replacing humans, or maybe, well, tell me what exactly you mean. Let me not put words in your mouth. Mr. Diamond, please continue.
Yes, you are exactly correct. That is exactly what I mean. That is exactly what the developers and the other experts are sounding the alarm about, because they have now seen how this technology will develop and continue to develop, and the risk that it poses. It's not a simply risk of individuals losing their positions and jobs. No, we're speaking about an extinction level event. Ironically, in 1920, there was a book called RUR, Random Universal Robotics. And the synopsis is exactly what we're discussing right now, where humans developed artificial intelligence, known as Android today, to replace some of our functions and to mimic us. And eventually, there was a revolt, and of course, they became extinct. The situation today is that the fact that the developers are calling for regulations is enough for individuals to be more concerned rather than a basic level. We're speaking about technology that will mimic us and also learn as they go along to actually make decisions on their own. So we're speaking of something that will become so advanced that will be more advanced than the developers themselves. So the alarm that we are basically calling for right now is that we should not wait to be reactive. We need to be proactive. And none of the regulations that will be put in place will be enough. So we need to look at how can we individually, get individuals ready for that? How can we involve the curriculum of schools so we can get individuals to take personal responsibility for the use of the technology? So this is a very serious situation we're dealing with right now. In a very broad comparison, we have handguns. We have regulations for handguns. How well have those regulations worked? So we are speaking about something that is more deadlier than a handgun when we speak of the extinction of our, of life itself because of a technology that we are developing that at some point or another we won't be able to control anymore.
So by extinction level, you literally mean replacing most, if not all, of our human functions?
Absolutely. That's exactly what will happen. When you consider
And
the fact that we're making advancements, there will come a time when the AI technology will be used to monitor life in hospitals. There'll become times when the AI technology will be used to regulate streetlights. There will become times when the technology will be used to even control your automobile in such a way. The type of malfunctions that can occur where the computer is reading it as protecting the environment or even attempting to protect you and implement something that it has learned, even if it's
The
misinformation, it can put so many lives at risk.
one,
So
one second, Mr.
the
Edwards.
challenge, however, it's that it's not it's not that of a definite conclusion of what the imminent threat or extinction level issue is about. Most of it is based on what we perceive is possible through our initial encounters with artificial intelligence, which is
But
mainly through science
let me stop you
fiction.
1 second, Mr. Let me stop you 1 second, Mr. Edwards. Doesn't the technology already exist? If it's even
Yes,
yes, right.
that's where I was going,
Yes, so
because
it's not just a perception. It's not just a perception. The technology is there.
the technology exists.
Yes.
However, how we have been informed about it
No, no, no.
is
Let's not
through
get in. Let's
it's
not get into how we are informed about it. The technology exists, so therefore it is
it
possible.
it
But
exists.
I don't.
The technology exists.
Because of limited time, I want to ask you two things very quickly, Mr. Edwards. What
Okay,
do we mean by voluntary AI, and what is the
it's
level of regulation that can be put in place?
the term voluntary in relation to the regulations that the EU are currently looking at putting
You mean the
forward,
European Union,
proposing.
right? I think you mean
Yes,
the
the
European Union.
European
Okay.
Union.
Yeah.
The challenge that I have with that is the fact that it is voluntary. It's like you school fees are voluntary in Jamaica. Does that
You want mandatory regulation of AI.
exactly? So
What
you
kind of
cannot
regulation?
you
What
cannot
kind of
use
regulation do you think is important? What kind of regulation do you think is needed?
it's going to be the regulations that ensure the technology will not cause harm.
What kind of harm?
Where Mr. Diamond was going, saying that you will have vehicles that are being controlled through artificial intelligence. That already exists. Self-driving
Yes, yes,
vehicles
yes.
already
You have
exist.
self-driving vehicles. Yes,
And
yes, we do. Yes.
and in order to maneuver on the road, it has to sense all of the various events that are happening within its own environment. What
Because of limited, what because of time, Mr. Edwards, what kind of regulations do you think we need?
we need mandatory regulations similar to the data protection regulation, which ensures that the personal data of any person who uses any internet type
Is protected.
communication facilities, it is protected.
Okay,
and
and what?
and enforceable, and
Okay,
companies are held accountable for breaking those regulations. So we
now
need that. So we
there's
need that type of regulation.
okay, understood. Now there's talk about code of conduct. When we talk about regulations, yes, code of conduct and regulations are the same thing to you, or the
Could you
code
repeat
of
that?
the code of conduct is more voluntary. You want something mandatory. Just want to make sure we're clear as to what you mean.
I am expecting laws and legislation that are going to be mandatory, which seeks to.
Hearing you loud and clear, Mr. Edwards. Mr. Diamond, because of limited time, any comments you want to make before we wrap today? Any further comments, Mr. Diamond? Mr. Diamond, are we hearing you?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Yes. Any further comments you want to make before we wrap? Because we're Mr. Edwards.
Absolutely. What happened is that for the benefit of our consumers is that the regulations will be coming. The reason for it being a voluntary code at this particular stage is that the regulations is something very comprehensive and it will be extensive. And because of the legal ramification, it will take time to actually develop. Because simply saying that there are regulations are one thing, being able to hold individuals accountable are another. We have seen it now with the World Wide Web, whereas question is who polices the World Wide Web when anyone can have access from anywhere in the world. So we have to remember that technology is continually to advance, and that is what's happening right now with the technology.
Anyway, I was asking, should the internet be police? But that's a complete different topic now. Well, it's related, but it would take too much for us to go into that now. Mr. Diamond, from a consumer standpoint, from the human at the human level, we've heard Mr. Edwards. We appreciate what he has contributed. But Mr. Diamond, from a human standpoint, if people are replaced on a wide scale, and Mr. Edwards might have comments as well, if people are replaced on a wide scale and they're sitting at home trying to retrain and doing nothing, some people might be permanently displaced. What happens to these people?
Well, that is something that we are not sure what will happen. The reality of it is that what we need to do to prevent that is that this technology is not one where we can sit and let it happen. We have to be active as a part of its development. So we have to include it in curriculums. We have to make it mandatory that the governments make sure that each individual is apprised of what it entails so that we can have individual accountability. Because if we do not want to be extinct, if we do not want to be replaced, we have to be a part of the development rather than sitting and waiting for it to happen.
So in other words, there probably needs, at the very least, some town hall meetings.
Town hall meetings will not be enough. We actually have to be hands-on. We're speaking about a technology that will continue to advance based on information that it collects. So we have benefits, but we also have security issues that are going to be prevalent, especially as it advances. So when we hear the developers trumpeting that there needs to be regulation, we need to be very careful. We cannot ignore that.
As I was saying before, right? I am not feeling comfortable with anything that is going to be voluntary, because it simply means that the bigger players in the industry can easily say it is a voluntary regulation, and therefore we do not need to follow it to ensure some type of safety and security.
It was only because of time we have to leave it there, but we have heard the point. You're saying it needs to be mandatory.
Definitely.
Mr. Diamond and Mr. Evans, thank you for your time and for your thoughts. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we look at other topical and controversial issues. And of course, visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. And download our app and stay connected to us, the family station, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been The Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gator, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, hanging you back up in the morning with Look
the Morning Watch is brought to you today. Holtz Hardware and Supplies, the leader in electrical building and everything for the home. Also, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, achieving prosperity through partnership, economic growth, and sustainable development.